Most of the concepts I'm going to use in this video are copyright Iain Banks, or unfortunately his estate. I'm going to try and get through this without crying this time. And although I recognise that money is, as he says, a sign of poverty, I also understand that we don't live in a post-scarcity society, and therefore that he or other people need money. Any money that I get as a result of making this video, which is pretty unlikely to be honest, I will contribute either to him, his estate, or a nominated organisation or person mentioned in his will or the funeral. First of all, to define post-scarcity. A scarcity-based society is the kind of society that we live in now. That is, that the concept of scarcity is manufactured by this society in order to impose a hierarchy on that society. That's how this society works. A post-scarcity society is one where there are no hierarchies based on the distribution of scarce resources. Remembering that scarcity is manufactured. There is no need for scarcity to exist. Abundance is the truth about reality, notwithstanding the laws of thermodynamics. Getting to the point that I wanted to make, my ugly mug is going to disappear now, and I'm going to give you a slideshow. In a few notes on the culture, Iain Banks talks about how two-dimensional space restricts our thoughts and determines our power structures. Here is a map of the British Isles. We essentially live in a two-dimensional space. We live on a surface with 2 degrees of freedom. As a result, we have North Sea oil fields, which are over there, and we have to bring them across the North Sea and so forth and use the oil or export it or whatever. And we have oil in the Middle East, and we have to keep on good terms with Saudi Arabia because it's got the oil. And then there's the concept of living spaces, which are also two-dimensional, so they're not really living spaces so much as living surfaces or living planes. And we can see this, for example, in the expansion of Germany in World War II. Germany didn't go around Poland, it went through it. And then there are lines of communication such as the Silk Road, the Triangle Trade and so forth. Enclaves can be surrounded, besieged, attacked, because we have to get our resources in a two-dimensional way. We have to get them along a line and we have to bring them in to where we are, and we also depend on our surroundings. And when I say surroundings, I am talking about a two-dimensional surroundings and not what is above or below us. Whereas we can dig into the ground, we can't go very far and we can't go round things, and it's difficult and costly energetically to do that. Things are not like that in space because space has 3 dimensions. In particular, living in space involves self-sufficiency. We do not depend on infrastructure. We have abundant energy and scarce, literally scarce, materials. And also the habitats move. As a result, space habitats are self-sufficient, and they are harder for hegemonies to dominate. Still haven't got pronunciation of that word right. They can be destroyed, but that makes them useless to the economy. They could be destroyed as examples to others, to scare people. But if that was done, whereas the number of people rebelling against the authority would be destroyed, that number would then increase because more people would rebel against it. And that would carry on indefinitely. And obviously that won't work. Because they have to survive against the inherently hostile environment of space, space habitats will be internally socialistic in the sense of libertarian socialism, and externally their relationships with other things in space will be anarchist. The forces of liberation only need to win once. If they win, everyone will be liberated. The forces of repression need to win every time. There may be other organisms out there in the galaxy which don't have these restrictions because they have not lived in a two-dimensional space. Examples of this would be beings that live in the atmosphere of a gas giant, organisms that live underwater, such as dolphins, for example. They may already be living in a post-scarcity society, and animals that fly in the air. Superorganisms based on swarms of insects, something like that, as expressed by Olaf Stapledon. So that's the geometrical idea expressed by Iain Banks, which implies to me that a post-scarcity society is inevitable. My personal view is that it is either inevitable or our extinction is inevitable. There isn't anything between those two. And that the reason it's important to go into space is that space allows a post-scarcity society to develop. If you like this video, please rate, comment and subscribe. And if you dislike it, please tell me why so I can improve. And I'll see you tomorrow.